We do. All right, let's play the Rich Paul clip where I think he's suggesting that they trade Austin Reaves, and then LeBron is distancing himself from it. Let's play the Rich Paul clip
If I
first.
was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner.
For
Jaren Jackson.
yeah, that'd be a great fit.
I would.
For whom?
Well, that's the thing, because you got to figure out the package. This comes with
Austin Reaves.
This comes with a very unemotional attachment because Austin is beloved, which he should be.
But he's about to get paid.
He's an underdog. And here's the thing: if there's a world where you can do what's best for your team and do what's best for Austin, because Austin deserves to get paid. Right now, I love him as a Laker, but if that is a situation where we're getting balanced, because if you put all the money into just the backcourt, and then you're kind of like your flexibility is restricted going forward to fill out the rest of the team, then that's kind of like riding when you used to have the training wheels on your bike, but the one training wheel is off and it kind of leans. That's kind of like that.
It's hard in the NBA with the
It's
aprons
very hard. Yeah,
to have
it's very hard.
redundancy.
But that would be
like if you have redundancy on your team.
All right. So that's Rich Paul suggesting they trade Austin Reaves. LeBron has come out in an interview and distanced himself from Rich Paul's comments. Let's read the quote. I think you all know by now Rich is his own man, and what Rich says is not a direct reflection of me and how I feel. And I hope people know that. I hope people know that if they're not sensible to know that, then I don't know what to tell them. Rich, that's what he's doing. That's his whole thing. That's what he's doing. That's what he's talking about. But I have zero conversations about what his topics are going to be or what they are going to talk about. He is his own man, and that is his problem. Austin Reaves, knows how I feel about him. All you got to do is look at us on the bench. Me and AR talk every single day. So AR knows how I feel about him, and I hope AR or his camp don't look at me and think this is words from me are coming through Rich. This is the first time I've seen LeBron be this kind of transparent and defensive, and I actually believe LeBron, and let me tell you why, Skap and Steve, you're already nodding your head. I believe LeBron. What I believe here is Rich Paul has gotten delusional. As LeBron James's career is coming to an end, and LeBron James has clearly lost power and leverage in the NBA and with the Lakers, Rich Paul actually thinks his agency and his brand and his relationship with Adele and all that, Rich Paul is feeling himself. And I made this. I bet neither one of you have ever watched the show Power. Power is the wire for retards. Can we put up the little graphic I had made for, if you've seen the show Power, there was a white guy named Tommy, black dude named Ghost. They were best friends, built this drug business, and then I think in the 6th season, they got at odds and started trying to kill each other. But anyway, Rich Paul and LeBron James got the exact same thing going on. And as I told you, Power is the wire for retards. So here's this big overgrown basketball retard. Here's the little midget sports agent retard who was selling T-shirts out of the back of his car, who now thinks he's some business mogul and business savant. Don't you know how many T-shirts I sold out of the back of my car, and now I'm an agent? And eventually these two guys are going to split apart and have a feud where LeBron has to fully distance himself from his midget Frankenstein that he created. Steve, you got the most disgusted look on your face, so I'm going to start with you, your reaction.
You know, there's a Laker that should be traded for the good of the franchise, all right. And if you asked 1,000 Laker fans, 2,000 of them would say it's the carpetbagger from Akron. Who thought this was a good idea? And wait a minute, are you that naive, Jason? I cannot believe that you're going all Lynn Jones on me. You don't believe that Rich Paul and LeBron have had these discussions. Man, we got to get rid of AR, man. Yeah, you're right. You don't think that discussion has never been had by those two, and Rich Paul was not intelligent enough not just to keep that in the bud? Really? And the other
Here's
thing
what
is,
I think, Steve. You could have the discussion without ever thinking Rich Paul would utter those words publicly in any capacity.
right.
Because you got all, if I told you my private thoughts and discussions I had about this woman or that woman or whatever, where I'd be having it's like, and then you went somewhere and talked about how I feel about Tamron Hall or whatever, I'd be very upset. Or I can't.
Well,
Let me give you another name that'll
to be
irritate
fair,
people.
you've
Is
made
it
those
Ryan
thoughts very
McEnany, Kylie McEnany's sister or something? But if anyway, I'm joking. But I just don't think he expected Rich Paul to talk about it. This is you and your boy have a conversation. You don't want everything going public.
Well, before I hand this off to Cap, who I'm sure has a lot to say, I recommended a book to Cap called Hollywood Ending.
Skap.
And it was a very good book. I forgot the author's name, but it was about the last 5-6 years of the Lakers' dysfunction since LeBron James came into my organization and made me a Laker fan in recess. This is just another chapter of that book.
Skap, your thoughts here. Who's right, who's wrong?
Jason, I don't know. I think you're maybe Steve and I are giving LeBron and Rich Paul too much credit. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're inferring that these guys who are like the ultimate puppet masters of the NBA that have been since 2012, maybe you're right. Maybe they're both just idiots and neither one of them saw this coming. Perhaps. Maybe I have to rethink and reevaluate my whole take on this on the fly, because when I'm looking at this and when I heard these comments like a week ago, obviously I'm thinking, well, LeBron James sanctioned Rich Paul to make these comments on the podcast that Rich Paul only has because he and LeBron thought that would be a good idea too. I mean, this would be quite a power move, I would have to say, to go back to your show analogy, by Rich Paul. This guy who was literally, he's a construct of LeBron James. LeBron James built this guy to essentially help him collude around the NBA. And for whatever reason, the NBA continues to just turn a blind eye to it. They've allegedly done and conducted investigations into LeBron James's ties with Clutch Sports, and they find no wrongdoings or anything like that. And the way it's said, around Clutch hallways is that it's influence, not ownership by LeBron James. But everybody within the NBA, Jason, knows, everyone in NBA circles knows that LeBron James has been the primary recruiter for Clutch Sports, that he helped build Clutch Sports. I mean, are we really to believe that Rich Paul, a guy who at the time was like 32 years old, just started one of the biggest sports agencies in the NBA on his own, a guy, Jason, without even a college degree? Like, historically, agents are, lawyers or have law degrees to negotiate the rigorous contractual demands that go into executing these deals. Rich Paul really took one guy in LeBron James and now, like 12 years later, controls 200 other contracts within the NBA, over $1 billion on their book. Like, of course, this is all LeBron James, and it is a huge conflict of interest. We saw him kind of lead the way in that Anthony Davis trade, which brought LeBron his fourth NBA championship. So, look, ultimately, my point is, if Rich Paul decided to freelance and start this podcast on his own, and then is also making these commentaries and crafting these narratives behind LeBron's back, essentially, that makes LeBron look terrible. Well, yeah, we're in for a crazy power struggle now that's going to play out on, obviously, the public stage between Rich and LeBron. I don't know if I'm willing to go there yet with you. I still think LeBron is in some way manipulating this behind the scenes and building these commentaries. But hell, maybe I need to reevaluate and look deeper into this. Maybe you're right. Maybe these are just two idiots playing out their idiot feud for all of us to see.
Man, y'all going to force me to go here. Give me 60, 90 seconds to just try to, seriously, just help y'all understand. And I'm saying this with affinity, and I mean, but I just got to keep it real for y'all to understand.
Yeah.
Steve, you remember Uncle Jimmy.
Beloved Uncle
I
Jimmy.
love Uncle Jimmy, and I really do. And we since he's left the show, we haven't been nearly as close as we had been for 20 years. But, and I'm telling you, I love Uncle Jimmy. I'm not saying this to disparage. But again, there's a process that will happen when someone takes a unique chance on someone without the resume and without the qualifications, and you install them. You take a guy that's a sheriff at the Kansas City, Kansas jail. He works, he's a sheriff in a jail. And you say, hey man, come out to Los Angeles. I'm going to put you on my sports TV show. And I'm going to write your scripts, write the jokes that you crack, do it. I'm going to control it and put you in a successful position. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just trying to tell you like what goes on. And did all that. And then I'm going to, hey, when I leave, eventually I'm going to bring you to Nashville, put you on this new show, and you're going to make, and I'm not trying to, please, I hope people hear me in context, but you're going to make more money than you could ever imagine. And then that person loses their mind and wants to second guess you at every turn. And then wants to basically, hey, I'm your co-host, I'm your equal. It happens, gentlemen. And I could give you more stories. I could sit here, I could go all the way back to Kansas City. There was a dude in Kansas City named Greg Hall. He was some sort of traveling salesman, businessman that was a sports fan that I took a liking to him and his family, knew his wife, blah, blah, blah. And I made the Kansas City Star give him a job because he was some kind of sports fan. And then I made a radio station, 810 WHB, give him a nighttime radio show as a part of me doing the morning show. He lost his mind. And the guy ended up spending a solid 10 years. He launched when he got fired for pretending to be me, he then launched a website attacking me for the next 10 years. and so I'm just telling you, man, I could tell there was a guy named Woody. And I love Woody. This dude, not the brightest, because I got a soft spot, man, because I grew up at the Masterpiece Lounge. I got a soft spot for guys from unique backgrounds that aren't that smart. And Woody, he was a caller on my radio show. I put him in position. He was making money with advertisers, blah, blah, blah. Spins off the road. Woody, I love you, but I'm just keeping it real. Woody could barely write and started calling me and leaving me messages that he wrote most of my columns or that he gave me the ideas for most of my columns. Guys, I'm telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. Rich Paul has lost his mind, unqualified, given a position that he did not earn, and now he's dating Adele. This man was selling T-shirts out of the back of a car. He's 5'4", and he's dating Adele. And y'all think this man hasn't lost his mind and LeBron can't control him? Man, I could go on with more testimonies about what happens when you empower people and they lose their mind.